Hi everyone, my name is Bramha Dutt Vishwakarma and I'm an assistant professor at the Indian Institute of Science. I participated in the peer early career fellowship in applied research offered by the IGSTC. I came to know about the fellowship through the grants office at IISc. My paired fellow was Codrut-Andrei Diaconu from DLR, German Aerospace Centre in Oberpfaffen in Munich. So we got to know each other through one of the postdocs at IISc, or Dr. Arindan Mandal, who visited TU Munich for a short exchange to work with Professor Jonathan Bamber. Jonathan Bamber happens to be my postdoc advisor as well. And currently Codrut is also working with Jonathan Bamber as a PhD student. This fellowship provided me with an amazing opportunity to interact and connect with colleagues at DLR. They are doing some cutting-edge Earth observation research that aligns very well with the goals of my department and my research interest. I visited DLR in April 2024, where I gave talk on what we do at IISc. Several remote sensing experts from DLR attended the talk, and the interaction was very fruitful. I was able to establish new connections with Dr. Dana, Dr. Peter, and Dr. Andreas. They all work on remote sensing of cryosphere, and we had a nice discussion on challenges in monitoring Himalayan glaciers. Then almost every geoscientist I would say, headed to Vienna for attending one of the largest conference in this field, the European Geoscience Union meeting in Vienna. I also attended that. I was convening a session and gave a talk. This was also convenient. I was already there in Europe, so thanks a lot to IGSTC again. Then I returned back to Munich and stayed some more time working at DLR. I also visited TU Munich and gave a talk on using causal inference for studying water fluxes. In the final leg of my visit, I went to my alma mater, University of Stuttgart, for a week, where I visited my PhD supervisor and a couple of colleagues working on geodetic remote sensing of the water cycle. I also gave a talk on improving empirical modeling of the water cycle by integrating inferences from geodetic remote sensing. On my return, I was very happy and satisfied. In terms of cultural experience, it was more nostalgic, as I have spent quite a few years in Germany. Meeting new researchers and finding common modes of interest was probably refreshing and motivating. And then I found that all the members at IC were also enjoyed interacting with Codrut. So this was a nice cultural as well as scientific exchange. And this was all made possible by IGSTC, and I would like to thank them for the great initiative, PECFAR. Thank you IGSTC.
Hi everyone, I'm Codrut-Andrei Diaconu, and first of all I would like to thank Bramha for informing me about this call. This is how I got to know about it. As he mentioned, I'm a researcher at the German Aerospace Centre, and my work generally focuses on developing methods for extracting insights into the state of the glaciers for the last few decades, and it heavily relies on machine learning for doing this, which is my main area of expertise. I started my close to 2 months research stay in Bramha's group at the Interdisciplinary Center for Water Research in IISc Bangalore, after he returned to India from his stay in Germany. Our main research focus during the stay was a project where we want to build machine learning models that predict how much the mass of the glaciers in the Indian Himalayas vary annually depending on meteorological factors and the local topography. And the major issue is the lack of training data, the main source being in situ data, which is very sparse both in time and space. And we had many meetings to discuss how we could overcome this issue, and we came up with a list of ideas that we are currently exploring. And for instance, we identified a way to further improve the performance of the model by incorporating artificial training data generated from a physical model. And we also identified additional sources of remote sensing data and reanalysis data to augment our current data set. In parallel, I'll try to understand the main ongoing projects in Bramha's group, which helped me to enhance my understanding in glaciology and hydrology and the challenge and uncertainties behind the ground measurements. And while interacting with the other members in the group, I realized that machine learning is an important component also in other projects. So I decided to prepare a talk on how I make use of machine learning in my own research and common pitfalls that one should avoid. And this was very nicely received. And in the end, I was nicely surprised with a cake on my last day in Bangalore. And all the people in the lab were amazing, and they've made my stay very enjoyable. So I would like to thank them again for that. After spending roughly a month and a week in Bangalore, both me and Bramha, we joined Arindam for the annual fieldwork on the Stock Glacier in Ladakh. There we installed new temperature sensors in the region and maintained the old ones. And these datasets will help, among others, for validating and bias correcting the reanalysis datasets that we are currently using. And additionally, we measured the accumulated snow in order to estimate the so-called winter mass balance. And compared to the last year, where more than 1 meter of accumulated snow was measured, now we found less than 40 centimeters, with half of the glacier already being exposed. And this might lead to a very negative annual mass, since without the protective layer of snow, the glacier starts losing ice too early in summer. And overall, this experience was also interesting for me because it helped me to connect more with the reality behind the ongoing projects. Finally, after the fieldwork, I visited Dr. Sudipan Saha in IIT Delhi for a few days, and we discussed our current projects and how we can collaborate in the future, focusing on identifying a few topics for master's thesis. This is all from our side. Again, thanks to IGSTC for providing the support for this day, and I hope the cooperation will continue such that others can benefit from such amazing opportunities. Thank you.